Welcome to On the Chain. This is Jeff here with co-host Chip. What's going on,
Jeff?
Chip, man?
What's
Good
up,
to see
man?
you. Man, doing great. It's been at least 24 hours since I saw you, man. I'll tell you what, Ripple XRP, man, they are making waves. There was a wrap-up of Swell. There's some interesting things that we're going to point out there. There's some commentary that we're going to play from Brad Garlinghouse. Overall, you know what? Ripple, along with XRP, have been making payments great again since 2014. I think that's pretty amazing. 2014, that was 7 years ago. And really, the concept started a little bit before that. So we got to dig into this thing because there's a lot of great momentum happening. And guess what? New York City coin, that's a real thing. You ready to kick this thing off?
Let's do it.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Oh, you guys know the drill. Drop the city and the country where you're from. Drop it in the chat or drop it in the comment. We read all the comments and we love to see where people are coming in from. And right, Jeff? I mean, we like to really see what people are doing. What are they doing? What are they saying? Where are they going? Right?
Yeah, we got Parsa Persian coming in from Virginia. He's got a new
Virginia.
That's pretty cool.
Virginia's for lovers, as they say. I believe that's
it
what
is.
they say.
And if you haven't done it yet, man, hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notifier, because everyone that hits that bell notifier gets notified 20 minutes before we go live. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I want to give a shout out, Jeff. I want to give a shout out to Cloud DB, who is in Perth, and it said it's 8 in the morning when we go live. So good morning to you. Good day, mate.
Oh, we got Brisbane
do a special shout out.
We got Port Charlotte in the house.
Brisbane, I think that's how I pronounce it. Brisbane. Who knows? We're gonna butcher everything, Jeff. I'm pretty sure.
Gorda in the house with the Jefe. El Jefe.
El Jefe.
Jefe, would you say that I've got plethora of presents? Piñatas?
Something like that.
What was that quote? Plethora. Okay. So Chip, check this out. So we have a plethora of things to talk about.
Plethora. Today. I love the word plethora.
Plethora. It's really nice. Then you got a few. It's kind of like a garden variety. But so Swell did wrap up. Before we do that, I think you put this nice little clip from Brad Garlinghouse at Swell. It's like a minute long. I thought this would be a great place for us to start off.
Yeah, let's do that.
The video loaded up, but I've got the Twitter loaded up here. And
well, why don't you go through the Twitter and I'll make sure that I get it.
Really cool.
I'll get it put
really
down.
solid over here. Here we go. Check it out.
Let's see.
There we go. It's loaded up there. It is ready to go. All right, let's kick this thing off. This is like a long 1 minute long. Here we go.
How we can get through it, Jeff? Let's see.
I don't know. It's already starting. Get the popcorn.
As these trends have continued to play out, one of the critical insights we have had here at Team Ripple is that a foundational element for tokenization and crypto broadly is liquidity. Everything starts with liquidity. Liquidity is the reason why all of this is possible. Crypto markets have exploded over the past couple of years, meaning there are levels of liquidity that can support value exchange on a more global scale. We've gone from millions of dollars of liquidity per day to billions of dollars of liquidity per day. And I have little doubt that will continue to grow by orders of magnitude in the years to come. It's worth noting that part of the reason why traditional financial systems were so inefficient, slow, and expensive is because the lack of liquidity for most currencies outside of the G20. Crypto really, in my judgment, has upended what we used to take for granted. And this is driving the core of our entire business within RippleNet and RippleX.
All about the liquidity, Jeff.
It's all about the liquidity. I like how he pointed that out. That's why yesterday we spent pretty much the entire episode talking about the liquidity hub that they're all about. But man, what do you think about the passion? One of the things that I'm pulling out of this is that he mentions crypto, doesn't reference XRP, because like we said yesterday, they're going for all of it.
That's right. But also, he's also noting use cases, right? So the funny thing about this, it's interesting, Jeff. After wrapping last night, I started thinking about this a little bit. Like I was running through this, sometimes we run the show back through our head, and I was thinking, it's so interesting the way they came out with this liquidity hub, and they really feature all of, like, for example, Bitcoin, ETH, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum Classic, right? And then XRP. So it wasn't as if it was, hey, it's an XRP. So what are they talking about? They're talking about different use cases for other cryptocurrencies, right? And then the other thing that I was thinking about this thing was what Alex said, coining 123 or 203, I should say, said last night looks like a 1970s game show set. So as Brad standing, I'm like, man, I can't get that out of my head. It really does. If you're looking at it, it's got like not even like a carpet or like a floor. It looks like it's like a cement floor with like these cutouts that are sitting there. There was a picture of Brad in the studio, like, cameras and, the teleprompter and all that. I kind of like Brad better when he's not reading a teleprompter. I understand you got to stay on message, but
Man, he stayed 1 minute on message too. That was pretty potent.
Well, there's a lot of stuff there to unpack, but I love the whole idea. Everything starts with liquidity. It's all about liquidity, and that's really where Ripple excels, right? That's really make it happen.
The connection game, the dating game, and I'll tell you what, that's what it's all about. It is the connection game. It is the dating game. Think about it. Right? That's what Ripple's doing, right? It's a dating game. They're pairing two parties together to move money. The connection game. They're creating the connections. So why not go back to the 70s? Really, really cool.
Liquidity. Yeah, that's exactly right. And there's another clip too that I was going to load up here. And this is another, again, I think it's interesting that what Ripple chose to share out on social media, right? Because, a lot happened there, but they selected a couple clips, and I think it's very telling. Let's watch this next one here, which I think is really fantastic. And this is Yogesh, I believe his name is. Here we go. So let's just say that. So it says, is blockchain and crypto the future of cross-border payments? Jeff, is it? Hell yeah, it is.
Let me think about that for a second. Oh,
hell yeah. Can I get a hell yeah, Jeff? Yeah.
Can I say this is this guy? Yeah, I was watching Yogesh, and I'm like, man, that's like Alex Mashinsky if he was from India. That's
correct.
That's a good. When you see him, right? When you look at him, I'm like, man, that's the Indian Alex Mashinsky. It's so awesome.
Jeff, you are so good with that. Yeah. It's interesting to see this whole thing, but yeah, is it the future? Hell yeah, it's the future. It's not even the future. I would say that might be incorrect. It's actually not the now, right? The future, it's actually the now, but I understand where they're heading with this. Let's watch the rest of this.
This is great.
And from a customer perspective, they are always very, very keen to know where their money is, right? It's very hard-earned money. A lot of them are from different stratas of society. Some of them are young and enthusiastic. A lot of our customers are younger millennials who are kind of. But one thing that they ask us all the time is, where's my money? And for that, we need to ensure that the money gets delivered very fast. And I think that's one thing that with using the solutions that we've built over a period of time, which are proprietary ones, as well as what Ripple brings to the table, I think that makes our life easier in telling them because payments are instant, they're quick.
Yeah, so there you're talking about the payments, Jeff. I mean, amazing, right? But I had to laugh a little bit because when you position him as the Indian Alex Mashinsky, I'm like, come on, man, how can you not? You know what I mean? That was pretty solid. That's pretty funny. But no, I mean, what are they focusing on? Talking about payments, talking about liquidity. It's all the same kind of stuff, which is great. I mean, what did you think about what he was talking about there?
Yeah, I like it. It's that's I'm kind of focused on that part of it. But the movement, and he's referencing the significance of the movement of the money. And it's all about the payments, and they realize that, and it's really, they're keen in on a problem. Before it was remittance payments, that was it. That's all we talked about. They're still referencing it, but there's so much more to it, and that's, man, I really want to see how they continue to develop. One of the things I was talking to my dad, before this, and where he was asking us what we're going to cover on the show. So, well, we're going to go into some of this stuff, and then we're kind of going through a slightly different format. We'll save SEC and some of the other news for after. But and I said, here's the thing with XRP and all the things that are going on, and even with Ripple, forget about the SEC, forget about what's going on in the US. Is it important? Yes. Is there so much more going on?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And my dad's like, yeah, that's right. It is global. I'm like, that's right. It is global. We have people from all over the world tuning into this thing. And the whole idea of the remittance payments and movement of money isn't just, US centric.
Oh, that's exactly right. And sometimes it's easy to forget that. But I mean, it's easy to forget that if you're living, whether you're in Europe or you're also in Australia or, anywhere in Asia. I mean, you kind of think, well, we're not really thinking like this is a global thing. But that's what I love about decentralization, digital assets, DeFi. One of the things it's doing is it's bringing people together from all over the place, and they're assembling. And then people are like, yeah, I kind of get this whole decentralization thing, and I'm starting to see more of these DAOs spring up. And I actually want to. People are all excited about what's the first nation that was going to, obviously El Salvador recognize Bitcoin as legal tender. Now we have. I think there's an African nation, Zimbabwe. Now there. You know what I want to know, Jeff? I'm not so excited about that. I want to know the first nation that sets itself up as a DAO, right? So the people actually have the control. There's no need to representation anymore. The representation is us. And it's just like if we were all validator nodes, we would all vote on stuff, and it would be one person, one vote. Everybody would be included. Now you needed representation because of the low tech, right? So you go back 100 years, somebody would go to Washington on your behalf. They had a regular job, but they made a sacrifice. They went there and they voted because on their constituents of what they wanted to do. So blockchain's changing all that, and blockchain's bringing globally all of us together in a really good way, not as a globalist way, but in a really solid way that creates all the like-mindedness and erases the borders. But it's not to be associated with globalism, which is a whole different thing we don't have time to get into. But that's what I'm talking about, Jeff. It's the whole idea of this kind of melding of decentralization. And I want to know the first nation that sets itself up as a DAO. You don't need a Congress. You don't need this. You don't need that. Rethink it with today's tech, not tech from 200, 300, 600, 800 years ago.
I like it. So the DAO Nation, imagine that. So you
set it up, Jeff.
Maybe there'll be some separatists. They'll pull away and they're going to set up their own country, and it's going to be the DAO Nation. Yeah, maybe it'll be Florida. Who knows? But El Salvador is doing something with algo, So, but I like this idea of the DAO. I think it's interesting. We might even see a DAO kind of roll out as we see cities within the U.S. start working through their own coin. So if you have the New York coin, you got the Miami coin, there's some, argument to be made that why not start at a local level? It might be a little bit easier to set that up, especially you're talking about from a voting perspective. Give every person in that city, in that town, one person, one vote, and orchestrate it. And you really save a lot. I think it'll be pretty great. But check this out, man. Martin is saying Australia is leading the way with XRP. And I think he's kind of right. We see a lot of development coming out over there in Australia, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really, they're definitely, I mean, the whole bank custody and everything else. I mean, they're really moving into that next realm instead of like, well, we'll do it in 3 or 5 years. They're doing it now, right? So, but I like this because it's the same way you have Miami coin. It's like, it's unique and it's novel because it's Miami coin. But then you go like, wait a minute, how much is it making per day, Jeff? It's making how much per day? Wait a minute. It's creating this whole basket of wealth for the city for what? Doing nothing. It's sitting there. It's not people paying taxes. It's the first time ever that a city figured out a way to make money, right? Because governments don't make money. They take money. They only can take what they can take from you, right? So it's like, well, we got to raise the taxes, poor bastard. And then they raise it on you. And they're like, no. But they run for office. They're like, oh, we're only going to raise it on the billionaires. And then it becomes the millionaires. Then it becomes the middle class. And then it becomes, and then it completely erases. But, that's kind of how it goes in, the way those sort of cookies crumble, I guess.
No, yeah, it's really, it's amazing. And so, hey, so I want to go over to this. This was like the wrap up of Swell. Now, yesterday we were saying kind of how sexy and how perfect that blog article was, and even the videos that we've been playing, the music and the intent and the drama and the passion and everything that went into it. Don't know, that whole 1970 set, like you said, I think that was kind of like amazing. And then 1970 set, it's like, wah, 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 but check this out. So this was the wrap up video. And man, how can you not be excited even from a wrap up video? I think it's kind of cool. This is like the out of Swell, and you still get fired up even though Swell's over. Can you hear it?
Yeah, perfect.
Ooh, there's the one. Nice.
Does look a little Apple-esque, if I have to say, but there's the 70s game show set they start off on right there, right?
Start over again, yeah. But
yeah,
it's cool, right?
No, it's very cool, and I think Reinhardt Cates is probably the one to put that together. I know he produced the show, and the stuff that I saw looked fantastic. So I think he did a great job, and he has a really creative spirit, and it was really great to see. Again, it would have been nice for some of us to see more of it, but I think again, this Swell's not really built for us. Swell's built for their intended audience, which are people who are interested in working with Ripple, right, and using the products. That's really who it's for. But again, more stuff will come out, more videos will come out. It'll be exciting to see it. I think one of the best things that came out from Swell itself there was a really phenomenal interview with Yahoo News and Asheesh Birla, and I got a clip right here that I wouldn't mind putting up. But again, it's a long clip. There's a longer clip of I think 8.5 minutes, 9 minutes. But again, this happened yesterday, and this is probably one of the cooler things that came out as far as something we could digest and look at. And this is Asheesh talking about it. But let's look at this.
Very early in this industry, essentially starting when there was the great financial crisis. How do you think crypto would do during another financial crisis? And it's not going to happen tomorrow, of course, but it's going to happen at some point in our lifetime.
Well, I definitely have like more gray hairs since I've been up and down.
You're doing okay so far.
Crypto, but listen, I never hope for a financial crisis, but I hope that crypto's at a point where folks have more choice by using crypto and can potentially safeguard their assets by using decentralized technology. Hey, I'm not even concerned with just a financial meltdown, but what happens if governments go insolvent and you have your assets in an Argentine peso or Venezuelan currency? And I've seen high adoption rates for crypto in those countries because it provides them financial future in case a government goes insolvent. But the same thing is true in case of another financial meltdown. If you use decentralized technology, I think that it's safer and it's decentralized in the fact that it's not reliant on one financial institution. Today, most of the world, as we learned from 2008, is reliant on 4 or 5 global money center banks. I think that's a problem, and then we saw the repercussions of that.
Why is it a problem?
Well, it's a problem is because really folks are dependent on each other. And if one goes insolvent, it's sort of like a dominoes. The rest of them go insolvent. And as a business school student in 2008, I learned about how fragile this world was. And then when I learned about Bitcoin, soon after, I'm like, this is the way you build financial technology. We saw the power of the internet and what it did for democratizing access for information. This is the same thing that's going to happen here, is that we're not going to be reliant on those 5 big money center banks in the future. We're going to be reliant on decentralized financial technology, and I think that we'll all benefit from that.
Does this help bring costs down in the industry?
We've seen our own customers benefit from bringing costs down, and the reason is that it takes the middlemen off, out of the supply chain. We saw that with cross-border payments. There's fewer middlemen, there's fewer intermediaries for the transaction to go through. If you reduce the number of middle men in a transaction, the costs go down. And I think you'll see the same thing. You remove friction out of even getting a loan, like we're seeing in the early days of DeFi, and the costs come down. Access goes up, and that's a good thing, I think, for the world. The world needs more financial access. The world needs more financial tools for everyday people around the world.
Dude, solid. Man, that guy, spot on, every aspect of that, talking about and this is, always to go back to the one thing that Alex Mashinsky had said one of the first times he was on the chain, on the show with us. And he said, out of the ash heap of all this disaster of financial meltdowns, of the brick and mortars, we're going to have all new titans, leading the way tomorrow. It could be individuals, or it could be this whole new changeover into a whole brand new asset class, changing the way people interact with their own wealth and take personal responsibility for their own wealth, and not have a reliance on what happens, like he was referencing, the 5 banks, or, there's so much, string pulling and whatnot going on behind the scenes, by the governments. But so the one element there, he talked about, if you have a run on a bank, they all fall. You can't just have one bank, and it's not just typically the one bank. It's if there's a run on the bank, it's a run on the banks. Just like we saw in Lebanon not that long ago, they shut the doors, they closed. Sorry, happened over in Cyprus. Sorry, happened over in Greece. And what do the people do? You don't have access to your ATMs. You can't go to the bank. You got no money. They cut you off, because they're worried about themselves. They're worried about the greater element, which is, the economic well-being of the country. And that comes before all the people in the country. But that doesn't help you when everything's melting down. And then you lose confidence in the banking system, the economy, and the politics and the government. And then everything else kind of implodes. So, I like the direction that he's talking here. Just like you were mentioning, DAO, man. Who's the first country to go with a DAO?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, because I really think that we're getting to a point, and this is really where we talk about blockchain, decentralization, the whole 9 yards. The reason we drive it home so often is because it's happening. It's not like, like they position that like the future of payments. No, it's now. I understand they're saying the future, but the future was back in 2012, 2013. You'd be like, is the future payments rooted in blockchain? Well, I don't know. We'll see. Today it is. I mean, look, there's not just XRP. There's XLM. There's Hedera Hashgraph. There's Solana. There's so many different blockchains and methodologies here. XRP Hollywood says, can somebody please ask Gary if these new city coins like Miami Coin and New York City Coin are securities? That's a good question right there, Hollywood.
Very solid question.
Hollywood.
Yeah.
How could they be secure, right?
Yeah,
they have a use case. They're not depending on anybody else, Jeff. I mean, who's he going to say? Well, it's dependent on. How is he going to position that it's an investment contract?
It might. You're investing in the state,
but you're hoping
unregistered security. You're hoping that it increases in value. Somehow the state's making money off of the coins as they're being mined. And
no, it's because 10% goes to the city.
Right.
So it's a default thing, right? It's a tokenomics sort of rule where 10% goes there. It has nothing to do with it. It rises or falls, doesn't matter. That 10% goes to the city. How is that a security?
Good point. Yeah, it probably isn't. But I'm sure Gary will find a way to phrase it as a stable value coin. Big shout out to Bones, TEP, for the big support.
And also, another one here from K-HUD. Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that. K-HUD. Bones Tep. Is it Bones Tep or TEP? I don't know what that means. Sometimes I want to dig deep into what these are all about, Jeff, because a lot of people put some heavy thought in that, and someone just said, okay, it's a YouTube thing. You just typed anything in, and then like you're branded with that. You like walk around for the next 12 years because you have that whatever name you happen to type in at the time. What's going on, Matt Hamilton? By the way, I wanted to show Matt Hamilton got his very own shroom, and he did change his avatar on his Twitter. I just had that up. I'm gonna go find it, but again,
How you doing that, man? Shout out to DNI.
Yeah, big time shout out. But yeah, Matt got his own thing, and it's pretty cool. And he also changed it to his here. Let me throw up his account here, his Twitter here. But we'll look at it. Here it is. Here it is on screen. Let me share my screen here. But yeah, and we got our very own ones too, which is also very cool. So let's go like that. Let's just show that on the screen right there. There he is, and like you can tell it's Matt, right? Because look at
it looks like Matt.
It looks just like him, man. Except for those weird things flying around his head, which is kind of weird, but But yeah, you see the little glasses and everything.
Yeah.
Pretty cool, man. So that's his. So he actually updated his avatar there. And let's see, where was there was another one where there it is right there. Boom. Yeah, so Jebsy basically did that. And so Matt said, hey, so cool to have my own X room. So I thought I'd set as my avatar since I think my profile needed a bit of a refresh. What do you think? I like it.
Outstanding. Oh, it's perfect.
I love these. I love what's happening in this, with these NFTs, and people are, they take their favorite NFT or their one that they actually purchased and they're putting it as their avatar. I love it because it shows a lot of personality. It's really cool. So he says, thanks, Matt, here's a gift for you. Thanks from the X Rooms Army. Let me know if you approve of the design, sir. And of course, he does approve because, boom, it is sitting right there, Jeff, as his avatar over on Twitter. So that was pretty cool. So that was something I wanted to point out tonight as well.
Big shout out to Chris Rent and his buddy Brandon.
There you go.
Hey, so XRP Speedboat, public service announcement reminder, CRA Canada Rev Tax views XRP as a commodity, not a security.
Well, Jeff, I think it would be I would think it'd be a little bit easier to say, is there a place on earth other than the US that doesn't view it as a security? It'd be like crickets. It'd be like, there isn't, Jeff. Every civilized nation on the planet, even Tulavu, whatever it is out in the middle of the ocean, they think it's even a commodity. They don't think it's a security. Nobody does, Jeff.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah, I think Berserker's got this spot on. You were talking about the Miami coin, 10% goes to the big guy.
That's right. And the big guy in this case would be Miami coin. So there's a lot of, so what is his name? Eric, I can't think of his last name. The new mayor-elect of New York City is all in on Bitcoin. So I like what some of the things he's saying. Like, we have to teach what's his name? What is it?
Eric Adams.
Eric Adams. Yeah. So Eric Adams is all in on Bitcoin, saying we got to teach it in the schools. He's absolutely right. It's not that you have to teach Bitcoin. Bitcoin's like the brand name, but you have to teach about decentralization. And I just think teaching decentralization in schools, Jeff, I mean, learning hasn't changed much since the 1700s. You read a passage, the teacher goes, want. With my kid being home and her and I'm working remote as well. And you're over here in your kids' classes. Remember when we were all locked up? It didn't last that long here in Florida, but you were locked up and I'm hearing the teacher. I'm like, is that your teacher? Like, what is going on? Like, the first time you get to see that. What is that, Jeff?
This is where it all starts, Chip. Right there.
We the people, baby. That's the preamble right there.
It is.
We the people, in order to form a more perfect nation, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for I don't have it all memorized, Jeff. I was hoping you'd bail me. I'd hope you'd bail me out there. Provide for the.
Man, I thought you're on a roll. You're gonna just keep it going.
I was going to when I was a kid. I think I recited that in front of the class, but I probably did the same thing. I got there and I was like, I don't know. And I'm like, sit down.
Good. That's good. I remember a Robert Frost poem that I had to memorize.
Yeah. Do you have it, Jeff? Can you go for it?
Let's see. Two roads diverged in the yellow wood, and sorry I could not take both and be one traveler. Long I stood and looked down one until it bent in the undergrowth, and then took the other as just the same, .. blah, blah, blah. I don't remember the rest. Not
Yeah,
bad.
that was impressive right there. And I don't even
That
know
was
if
I
and
don't
I don't even know
it
if you're freestyling or what. I was like, it sounded
was-
impressive to me.
I was just making it up. Just
That's-
making it up on the spot. Me and Robert Frost, you know how we go.
Yeah,
So,
two-
hey, I do want to give someone a quick shout out only because we didn't get to do it yet. And I think we got to do it.
let's
We
do
gotta
it.
Come on, man, Berserker.
There we go.
Love it.
So we go from Robert Frost, the Constitution, straight over to Berserker. It's perfect.
Yeah, what could be more perfect than that? I'll tell you what could be more perfect. So there's a lot of news happening. And again, it's not like anything new. Like this is we've seen this before, but it's kind of on a topic with our conversation here, Jeff. And I kind of wanted to show this because this is the Verge. It's one of those tech sort of pubs, and Twitter's launching a dedicated crypto team. Now they've been talking about this for I think almost 3 years now, right? A dedicated crypto team, part of its push towards decentralization. Now, Jeff, I'm not an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but I just don't see Twitter and decentralization in the same sort of sentence, because the one platform that likes to deplatform people, censor people. Now, I talked about something I'm not going to talk about it here, but I will talk about Charlie Gasparino, who is on Fox Business, very, very well known in the XRP community because he's really brought a lot of the stuff about XRP on the business channel, Fox Business. And he had put out a tweet and he said, hey, I get it about this and I understand all that, but what about monoclonal antibodies? So I shared my personal experience on what my doctor prescribed me, right? Prescribed me 2 meds, one of them which get a lot of flack with horses, and the other one which is approved by the FDA. The other one, monoclonal antibody. And I just said, like, this is my experience, right? And what happened? What do you think happened to my tweet? It got a notice that this may be disinformation. And if you want to learn more, click right here. I was like, what? And you were the one that noticed that. And then I got the troll army calling me all kinds of names and everything. And all I was doing, and the best part about it was Charlie Gasparino, he retweeted it and liked it. So there you go. But
That
I
was
was,
awesome, man. That was awesome.
That was pretty cool. But I was like, wait a minute. I'm just talking about my personal experience. I'm not trying to get on some platform. It's like, hey, this is just my experience. And man, the hate in that,
Dude.
Wow.
Man, but it was like clockwork. As soon as you put that out there and he forwarded it, or he retweeted it, it was like clockwork. Immediately the trolls came out. And those trolls are all employed by Twitter and Facebook and Google because there's tons of them. And they come out and you look at their profiles are weak. Many of them, they could have been around for a really long time, and some are relatively brand new, but they're trolls and that's all they do. And fake accounts, run by the social media giants. And it's unfortunate, so you've got Facebook trying to rebrand as Meta. Apparently there's another company called Meta. They didn't think of looking into that before they came out with Meta, and try to make a big joke out of it. And I don't think anybody gives a crap that they're calling themselves Meta. And I honestly don't think it's going to stick. I think it's a disaster, for them to do that. It's like Twitter rebranding themselves as Decentraland, or why don't they just call themselves decentralization? It's going to be stupid anyways, So what is this whole thing, this push towards decentralization you speak of here?
What kind of sorcery is this, Jeff?
What kind of sorcery?
So listen to this. So it gets even sillier. The division will be known as Twitter Crypto and report to its CTO or Chief Tech Officer. And so it's Jeff, not crypto Twitter. No. It's Twitter Crypto because we refer to anything weird and going on in the Twitter sphere of crypto. We call it crypto Twitter. But they guys say, wait a minute, let's get clever here, Jeff. Let's call it Twitter Crypto, which is weird, right? It would be crypto Twitter.
Right. I'll tell you what's wrong over there is that someone is over there smoking the devil's lettuce. I think that's the biggest problem.
I knew it, Jeff. The devil's lettuce. And of course, that was made famous by none other than John Kennedy out of, where's he out of? Tennessee? He's over there. Kentucky, something like that.
Montana.
He's down. No, it's in one of the southern states.
Somewhere over there. Yep.
Now, look, I applaud them. Now, don't you know? Of course we jest a little bit here, but I do applaud this move. Twitter's building the new division for all things blockchain at Twitter. It's called Twitter Crypto. Hired Tess Reinerson. Now, this happened a while ago, but I guess the buzz didn't happen. We must have reported on this at least a month or two ago. Same person they hired, same everything. But now they're putting the PR again. Everyone's getting the PR notice. First, we're going to explore how we can support the growing interest among creators to use decentralized apps to manage virtual goods. Nothing negative about the platform itself and currencies, and support their working community. So right now it sounds kind of buzzy, right? It's like that corporate jargon speak. Have you ever seen those websites where you say, show me some corporate jargon? It's all these big words. You don't know what they say. Looking further ahead, we're going to explore how ideas from crypto communities can help us push the boundaries of what's possible. That sounds like something Congress would say. Yeah, we're going to have a working group that's going to talk about crypto communities, how we can push the boundaries. What does that say, Jeff?
We're going to pass a bill to create a working group that's going to discuss how to push the boundaries and report back to us in about 12 months.
Yeah, exactly. And then they're going to work closely with Blue Sky. Now that supposedly was this is the other one, an independent Twitter funded effort to create a decentralized social network standard. So if Twitter's creating the standard, oh God, help us all, right?
Is it going to be controlled by the guy at the top with the funny beard?
Yes, perhaps. I don't know. Well, is it going to be controlled by anybody? Because that's the first rule. It's kind of like the first rule of decentralization is there is no control. What's the second rule of decentralization? There is no control. That's the whole point of it, Jeff. It's like Fight Club, you don't talk about Fight Club. You know what the second rule is? You don't talk about Fight Club. But here we're talking about decentralization, and they're talking about how they control. They're going to report that this person and this person is going to be involved. No, that's not decentralization. So anyway, we're going to have to keep a
throw a little money into it. Then maybe people get excited. Give me some Twitter coin.
So Dorsey is also the CEO of financial services Square. He's been a vocal proponent of crypto. Can we change that? He's not been a vocal proponent of cryptocurrency. He's been a vocal proponent of Bitcoin. Okay, let's be honest here. Let's be fair. Let's be honest. Bitcoin in particular, like I like to say, I displayed a Bitcoin clock while testifying before Congress. Oh, yay! Bitcoin's business unit for Square to be determined in July. So look, at least they're kind of heading down that road, Jeff. But again, I don't know. It's kind of like the hen watching the fox watching the hen house, as they say. It's like, don't worry, it's not my nature to attack the chickens. I'll just keep an eye on it, and then when everyone leaves, and boom, there go the chickens. So
Chip, what are the odds that we're going to get funny beard guy on the chain at this point after?
Well, I guess the same odds as we'll get Brad Garlinghouse, as we'll get. I don't know, Jeff. I don't know.
Well, you never know. You never know. Hey, so it's funny. I was holding this back. Got Matt Hamilton. He said the U.S. is the only country that uses Fahrenheit, feet, and inches, and checks. Just
I don't know
saying.
what checks is. I don't know what checks is.
That's a funny spelling for checks.
That's
I don't know
we don't speak. There's more of us.
Are those handwritten checks?
We've Americanized English. It's not called English anymore. It's called Americana. It's called Glish. Okay, we've bastardized the language and everything else in the world. So that's all right. We own that. But listen, I'll be honest with you. Here's the weird thing. I have a tape measure that is in a millimeter. I hate the whole feet thing, the inches thing. It's impossible when you're making stuff. What is 13/16, Jeff? What is and then like you can't do fractional stuff.
Division of 10. You gotta love it.
Division of 10 makes so much sense. And also a great band is the Division of Laura Lee. If you ever check them out, one of my favorite bands. I love them.
All right, another one from XRP Hollywood. Man, he's on a roll. Do you think when the SEC versus Ripple case is over, that Ripple will be able to roll out RippleNet using XRP commercials? How awesome would that be? That'd be pretty cool. What do you think?
I definitely think. Why not? I mean, why not? I mean, I think what I like about this whole here's what I really love about what's happening. First of all, I really believe this liquidity hub is it's phenomenal, and Asheesh Birla talked about it in a way that they've been using it in sort of in-house, right, to perform liquidity. And so the fact that it can find the best, because you got to remember when you're dealing with bigger customers, and I know they're talking about more the institutional size one, right, the enterprise level customer, but you need a simple solution. If you can take an API and build that in, and it can leverage market makers and or the exchanges for the best prices when you're buying, when you're selling, when you're doing all this stuff. Because again, they're working at a higher level in what they're buying, selling, and the whole liquidity of it, and not having to pre-fund those accounts. Man, you're talking enterprises language. That are all the things that plague enterprise right now. Ripple is solving, and I just think this Swell, and again, I've only heard bits and pieces of it, but it's just a phenomenal event. Really, really well done this year.
That's right, dude. Check this out. So obviously the comment's cool. For one good politician, we have 100 bad ones. Check out the name. How cool is that name? What's your name? Dash.
Dash. Dash. I don't even, is that a dash? It might be a hyphen, Jeff. I don't know.
It's a hyphen. Minus.
I don't know. Minus. It could be a lot of different things. I mean, we got some clarification on that.
Man,
so you're like, cool. Thank you. You can just call it Earth because that's sort of the avatar right there, which I like as well. It's pretty cool, right?
So Chip, here's what I'm trying to figure out. So this has been posted around, powered by Global ID, by the way, and to be found over on Uphold and some other places. But how in the world is XRP that is now found on this beautiful debit card right here? So that means it's connected. Why can't I zoom into it? Won't let me zoom in. How nice is that? But it has this beautiful little XRP logo here. Another logo that's very familiar to everybody, this Mastercard logo, and it's on a debit card, and you get 2% cash back in XRP. So you're getting XRP rewards. You could potentially be spending your XRP, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. Have to look into that, but let's see how it works. XRP Mastercard is only available to members of the XRP Army group on Global ID. That's kind of cool. Keep up to date with all things XRP. Here you can join the group, get your card and earn rewards. So now you're earning. Can you earn, rewards that are securities? Maybe you can. But the one thing you can't do is spend it. Make a purchase with the XRP Mastercard debit card, and you'll receive XRP in a reward wallet when your transaction settles. So it might be connected to your regular dollar account. I'm not 100% sure, but I think if it's connected to Uphold, you should be able to spend your digital asset. You can spend XRP. And to me, that's exciting because I don't know many securities out there that you can spend. I've tried to do it. I've tried to spend my stock. And I'll tell you what, stores don't take it. I say, come on, man, I got a little bit of GE stock. It's going to be valuable in a couple of years when the company splits into three. You're going to get 3 times the stock.
Doesn't fly, does it, Jeff?
No, they said no.
They don't really like it all that much. So I wanted to throw this up here because it's kind of in line with our conversation. This is Ariel Shapira penned this amazing article here. But again, this is kind of in line, right? It's what we're talking about. He says, if it's not decentralized, we don't want it. In order for the metaverse to be successful, it should work on a decentralized ecosystem to avoid a single gatekeeper. According to Ariel Shapira, read all about it in his monthly crypto tech column. So here it is right here. And let's see, did I have that one? Where is this? Did they not link to it? Let me see here. Huh. Let's see. Yeah, it is right there. Okay, they linked to his profile instead of the actual article. And he said, should the metaverse ever come into existence, blockchain technology and decentralization must be at the core of the innovation. I mean, it's sad that he has to say it, Jeff, right? I mean, it should go without saying, but he has to say that it has to work for everyone, because what are you going to do? You're going to build another gatekeeper? Oh, join the metaverse. And how does that? It's just like the regular verse. It's just there's somebody in charge of it. There's the metaverse, there's a regular verse, and there's the universe, and they all run the same. There's always a gatekeeper, and you'll be deplatformed. And if you don't get along right there, and look what a beautiful picture that is. Everyone living in harmony in the metaverse right there. It's beautiful, right?
And it's a utopia.
Says, what's in a name? Well, a whole metaverse is what one could be led to believe that looking at the buzz around Facebook's recent transformation into Meta. In reality, of course, there's more to it than the new name. That there's also a whistleblower scandal alongside the previous controversy and blah, blah, blah. But Jeff, that was not a whistleblower strategy. That was a planned government intervention. What do I mean by that? Well, if you look at what the so-called whistleblower was saying, They wanted government to be stricter and allow them to expand their powers of banning more people. That's not a whistleblower. That's a strategy. So that thing was, it took everybody about 6.5 seconds to figure that one out. So let's not get into that. Look at this too. Here's the other problem that Facebook is plagued with, is that you've got, the social media platform amongst teenagers, which is you always need younger people, because the people that are using Facebook are dying in droves every day, right? Because they're older, they tend to be older. Look at Snapchat, 35%, TikTok, 30%, Instagram, 22%, Facebook, 2%, Twitter, 2%.
Look at Twitter. What happened to YouTube?
Well, that's not a social platform, Jeff. This is about the social media platform. So if you look at that, that's a group of 10,000 teams across the U.S., average age about almost 16 years. So if rebranding for Facebook is easy for skeptics to dismiss as a PR stunt, the same does not go for the metaverse, simply because it's entering, requires more than public announcement. And again, this is a really well-penned article, and it really just, if you're going to create this whole metaverse, and I saw the, what's his name? Jesse, is his name Jesse from Kraken? The CEO there, he said, and this I was kind of surprised about, but he said, why don't we have one, like it's all universal, it's just one metaverse. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good idea, especially if it's not decentralized, a really bad idea, because it's always great for the people that are making the decisions and controlling it. But if it's not decentralized, not blockchain based, why would you waste your time?
Why would you waste your time on the metaverse? The metaverse. I don't get it. And you know what, Chip? You sit around, and if you're like me, you're like, what the F is the metaverse? Why do we care? How does it impact crypto? And how can we invest in it? Right? Isn't that what we really want to know? And check out the Cryptopedia is really cool. So crypto metaverse is an immersive virtual world that incorporates blockchain, tech, and cryptocurrency. You got to love the immersive virtual world. So check it out. They're immersive virtual worlds with immense social and financial potential. Their use of blockchain infrastructures enable them to tap into the wider crypto economy, making virtual items exchangeable for real economic value beyond the confines of the metaverse. So you can just start thinking like, and your brain is spitting, and you're like, what kind of things already exist in this so-called metaverse of today, and then you realize that, it's not just people over there on Gemini and Cryptopedia, NASDAQ, you've got Ethereum killers, metaverse tokens seen as the next millionaire makers, right? And Chip, I was looking into it, and you've got, some of the tokens that you have, are pretty amazing.
Yeah, they are.
You've got Avalanche, Phantom, Terra, that Infinity something or another, and they're popping up all over the place. And I'm looking at this metaverse. It isn't even Facebook. Forget about the Facebook metaverse. I think they're jumping on the bandwagon, trying to steal the branding because they see the next big thing coming, and they failed. What was their stable coin supposed to be called? They had the first one, then the second one. I think that was a dismal failure. I'm not even sure what happened to that.
I don't know what happened to it either. I mean, it's just kind of like bit the dust, I guess. I don't know.
And now they're trying to take over the metaverse.
Well,
rebranding this Meta, is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing. Well, I wanted to talk about this, Jeff, because it's in line with what we're talking about. Unfortunately, why do these ads always have to pop up? I'm not clicking on them, and I don't care. So there you go. But Jeff, I'm going to show you this headline, and then tell me if you are surprised in any shape. Here we go. The SEC halts token registrations of Wyoming-based DAO.
Okay, yep.
Kind of like there's not a surprise there. Kind of like, okay, what took them so long, right? So again, so the quick take, the SEC's halted the token registration of the first Wyoming-based DAO LLC. It began administrative proceedings against the company due to misleading statements in its registration filings. Oh, here you go. Come talk to us, Jeff. Oh, we're so happy. Yeah. Come talk to us. And it says the American Crypto Fed DAO LLC sought to use the path laid out in Commissioner Hester Pierce's token safe harbor proposal. Uh-oh. That means Gary would have to read it.
Yep. Something he hasn't done. He's been avoiding it. You know why? Because he taught at MIT. Esther
Well,
Perst did teach at MIT, so she is beneath him, and all of her writing is beneath his intellect.
yeah, well, so the thing about it is it's a proposal, it doesn't exist. You had 3 years to decentralize. So like, I'll tell you what, but a DAO ready from go is really decentralized. So it says the securities regulator announced today it had instituted proceedings against American Crypto Fed DAO, which touts itself. Now it touts itself. See, it's not real, Jeff. As the first DAO out of Wyoming, resulting in a freeze in the registration of its tokens. State passed a heavily debated law earlier this year, allowing DAOs to seek state charter and official recognition as limited liability companies, LLCs. It filed the S1 with the SEC in September. Remember, we talked about how great this was, right? Formally requesting recognition from the SEC federal agency. What's that?
And they put a pause on it.
They
The
sure
SEC.
did. I mean, it was supposedly, so it says the group registered for use these tokens at a secondary market and refundable auctions at sales higher than initial value. In terms of function, the lock token was supposedly for governance decision, while the Ducat token was typical transactions. In the announcement of the proceedings, the SEC said the action halts the effectiveness of the company's registration of the two digital tokens as securities. I mean, Jeff, really? I mean, the whole idea of a DAO is decentralization. I mean, I don't get it. There's a whole lot of other stuff in here, but
So pathetic.
it's just garbage. It's more garbage.
Put a pause on your project. Oh God,
But let's do a futures ETF. Let's do a futures Bitcoin ETF. That makes sense, right? Because that you're trying to protect investors. So open it up so people can lose their shirt, their house, and everything they ever owned, and then maybe some promise of future things they might own in the future, right? Let's look at this one right here. Thank you, K-Hud. Appreciate it. It says, dream big. The possibilities are incomprehensible, and it's hard to digest. The focus Ripple has is precision. That is an amazing statement right there. Let's read it again. Dream big. The possibilities are incomprehensible, and it's hard to digest. The focus Ripple has is precision. Well said, well stated. And then Hollywood is crushing it tonight. He says, okay, I just have one more question. If it is the SEC lawsuit that's holding the XRP price down, what's holding the price of XLM down? Jeff, you want to take a stab at that?
Oh, that's a great question. I've thought about that quite a bit as well. It's like, I think, XLM is somehow tied to the momentum of XRP. It's interesting. I look at the whole market. There's a little bit of a groundswell, and everything kind of gets pulled, by Bitcoin at some point. But the lawsuit definitely had an impact on XRP. Obviously we know that. And it's not because of the highlight of Ripple going after Ripple. It's the highlight of and the uncertainty of XRP actually becoming a security. And so if XRP becomes a security, is there a possibility then that XLM is also potentially a security? Is there a tie-in between XRP and XLM? But that's a phenomenal question, because you would think that, hey, if people are in XRP and it's not pumping right now, jump into XLM and XLM is going to start pumping. That's a solid question. I mean, that's the $1 million question right there. If XRP could figure it out, we can untap the unrealized potential that is XLM and see XLM skyrocket. How about that? What are your thoughts, Chip? What is holding down XLM?
It's hard to say, Jeff. I mean, really, quite honestly, I just don't think. I mean, I think they've got the right person at the helm there. I think they're doing some good things. Go ahead, put that. But I don't know if there's as much excitement around it. I think a lot of it has to do with partnerships, and we heard a little bit about CBDCs. You heard about because I hold XLM. Everybody would like the price to increase. I mean, when I go with XRP, I go, if you looked at the all-time high, $3.84, roughly about there. One of the things we look at is all of these all-time highs for all these altcoins, right? Oh, a new all-time high for this, and I'm not just talking about Bitcoin, Ethereum. There's a lot over this last bull run that experienced all-time high or a couple all-time highs. And then you got to look at it from the perspective of XRP. it's artificially held down because, you know, I mean, look at what it did to the market. So XLM, hard to say, you know, I wish I had a crystal ball and I could say it, but I really don't know. I just don't know if there's the excitement around it. And if you said to somebody, even people that know, have a knowledge around, you know, the Stellar Foundation, you said, hey, the XLM or the, you know, the Stellar Lumens, tell me about the project. Tell me about where they're going. Tell me a little bit about the project. You know, you'll be like, wow, I don't know. So that's part of it. But you look at it, it's been higher than that already. You know, a couple months ago it was at 40 in the 40s, right? So
it's pretty stable. You know, both XRP and XLM, the thing that is great about them is they don't have major short-term swings. You know, they typically hit a point and they stay very, very consistent. They find their area that they like to be in. XLM typically, you know, it fluctuates in the 30s. XRP fluctuates in that $1 to $1.20 range, and they seem to like it there, you know, overall. And you know, obviously there's got to be some momentum that's holding it back. You know, look at overall circulating, or what was I looking at? I'm trying to look at the movement supply, not the there we go. Oh no, I was right here. It's looking at the trading volume for the past 24 hours, 1.6. You know, so I don't know, 1.6 billion total diluted valuation, or fully diluted valuation. Sorry, 19. Interesting. Such a great question. Good question. Put a silent cap on that one, Chip.
it's hard to know, really. I mean, but I just don't know. I don't see a lot of excitement around the project. I quite honestly don't. I just, you know, I'm not saying it doesn't have exciting things going on, but again, I don't really keep tabs 100% on it. Jeff, I wanted to show something. This was actually, we don't usually repeat stuff from the previous night, but this is something. Did we put this up there, the speedboat? Did we feature this? Yep, a fellow contractor paid at our supplier store with a similar one today here in Canada. I think we missed that one. Thank you for that. Thank you for that.
That's awesome. A fellow contractor paid at our supplier store with a similar one today here in Canada.
That's pretty awesome, man. That's pretty awesome. I mean, that right there is adoption, right? It's badass.
There, you pull that out and it's awesome, man. Well, I'll tell you what's exciting. Here's what's exciting. If we can get this without this thing screwing things up over here. Here we go. That's exciting right there. Shiba Inu millionaire retires at the age of 30.
That was it.
After an $8,000 bet. Now this guy put his $8,000 in. He actually bailed. This is somebody else, because you had the $8,000 investment bailed with $5 billion or $3.5 billion. This guy bailed a little early, and so he said he cashed out early on with about 500,000, let it go up until it went over $1 million, and then walked away. You know, so he walked away with a significant amount. But here's the spin. You go into the mainstream media, you get a little bit of excitement going on here. You know, last month he bought 78.50 after it debuted in 2020. It became a billionaire. That's the one. That was the big one, you know, worth like $3.5 billion because of what they bought it here. Like the trader who bought 70 billion Shiba coin in just one day saw their wealth skyrocket to $5.4 million in 14 months. That's big, you know. So there's some good stuff. But look at this. Unlike other types of investment, crypto is not regulated, so you don't have the protection if things go wrong.
Don't worry, you don't have it anyway. So
that's what I was gonna say. So if you invest in GE and things go wrong, how are you protected? You know, if something goes wrong, how are you protected to recoup your stock? I'm trying to figure that part out. It's not like you have your money sitting in your bank account that has
exactly.
But I get it.
Here's the thing. So I wanted to make this video so it's not in the next video from the previous night, but I want to show this because this is Team Liquid. They made a cool little video for their partnership with Coinbase. I thought this was really creative. Let's listen and watch this.
Sir, would you like some champagne? Sir?
He's good. Hey, you okay?
Oh, yeah, I'm good. I'm just not the biggest plane person.
Juan, if I could have magically flown us there, I would have.
I'm not asking for magic, Steve. I'm asking for a train or a boat, maybe a scooter, maybe
People have always called things they don't understand magic. When they were first invented, people thought airplanes were magic.
Please get me off this plane.
It's the same story with fire, too. And it's the same with harnessing electricity. People thought electricity was magic, too. Until one man's brilliance harnessed it for all of us.
Was that your carry-on, or?
Try crypto. People may not get it now, but someday soon, they'll realize. It's not magic either, just like fire or electricity. So, you feel any better, Juan?
Yeah, actually I do. Thanks.
I knew you would.
I'm Steve from Team Liquid.
I'm Kate from Coinbase.
I think this is going to be the start of something magical.
Me too. The only way to go from here is up.
What are these winks about?
Now that is a partnership announcement, Jeff. That was well done.
That is outstanding. I love it.
It was really well put together. Now we had that for last night. We just
Oh, man,
went a
that
little
was
crazy, but
And see that? Same with OTC.
you go panic. Well, I can't be 100% sure when it comes to XRP, but I think it's magic. That is magic. So they played off that whole magic theme, which I thought was great. What a cool Team Liquid / Coinbase partnership announcement. Really fun and crafted.
Have any of you applied or checked out the Ripple Creator Fund? Hey, Chip.
We've applied to it, but I'm sure we're going to get rejected just like we get rejected from we've been kicked out of every decent place. We're the slowest growing YouTube channel. Come on, Jeff. But I expect us to have, listen, we actually have a real project with real stuff happening, and we're pretty excited about it. We will start sharing more and more the closer we get on it. But yeah, we've applied for that. So what do you think the chances are? I think they're pretty strong. I like to think that we have a really great chance of getting that creator fund. But yeah, we did apply for that. Ripple Creator Fund. Yeah, it's very cool. And I love Ripple's doing stuff like that. But anyway, Jeff, how often do we stream? It's that time of the night.
You have the website up. If it's on the internet, it must be true. We actually stream 6 days a week, if you guys can believe that, Sunday through Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and every Saturday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tomorrow, over here in the U.S., is actually Veterans Day, and I was hosting an event tomorrow that may be canceled at this point because we lost our venue this evening. So apparently our venue is closed due to lack of support staff to have the venue open. So I was going to say tomorrow night we might be missing our show because I won't be able to be on. However, I might be on because our venue is now canceled. So that will all be announced in the morning, but I do plan on being on apparently tomorrow night. So I'm going to look forward to being here on the chain. I'll be streaming solo, Chip.
Yeah, because I got a family event that's coming, so I'm not gonna be here tomorrow, Sunday, and possibly not Monday night too. But I got a lot of family coming in town, and just a family event. So again, a lot of entertaining and doing that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, Jeff, you're going to be doing well. Fortunately for everybody else, you'll be in the driver's seat, and I'm sure you'll be doing some good stuff.
That'll be awesome. And if you guys have ever thought about, hey, you know what? How do we support On the Chain? Obviously, we appreciate all of you guys just showing up and being here. Tweeting it out is awesome. Check out the website. Go to onthechain.io and you can log in over there. You can sign up and make sure that you get on to the email list. The email list is all powerful because if you miss a show, every time we have a show, those actually get emailed out, which is really cool. you sign into the and join the mailing list. And there's other ways to support the channel as well. So go check it out on thechain.io and get on the mailing list, on the email list.
Beautiful.
Self-contained, doesn't go anywhere else, not going to go to anybody else. You guys and us, that's it. And we are orchestrating some meetups that will be coming up, and that'll be announced on the website as well. So with that, Chip, I'm looking forward to tomorrow night.
Yeah, man. Have a great night, and I'll be supporting you. Maybe I'll even check in if I can. I'll just sneak away for a few little bit. But he wants to buy the brick. Well, I might have to be able to buy one of those bricks right there.
All these bricks are going to be sold. So
just another brick in the wall, Jeff. That's all it is.
Another brick in the wall.
Well, there you go, guys. Thank you so much for, again, supporting us. Thank you for all the super chats tonight. Thank you for all the questions and the great dialogue you always have. And that's all I have. Jeff, you have anything?
That's it. I do want to say just a big thank you to all the veterans out there that have sacrificed, for our freedoms, and some that have made the greatest sacrifice. And we appreciate every one of you. And hopefully we'll be on tomorrow night. We can do even more conversation about veterans from around the world. So
yeah, my dad's a vet too. So, shout out to my dad who watches the show as well from his comfort of his house, but he's a vet of the Air Force. So shout out to Dad. Thank you for the service. Really appreciate it. Yeah, that's it. That's all I got. Guys, we'll see you on the next one. Chip and Jeff out.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.